Hi everyone! Today we're going to be going over how to delete an element in a linked list. Specifically, we're going to be going over how to delete an element at the front of a linked list, at the middle of a linked list, and at the end of a linked list. Let's start by going over how to delete an element at the front of a linked list. Recall the linked list class we built in our Introduction to Linked Lists video. We're going to be building off the linked list class by adding a method called deleteHead, which deletes the head, or the first element, of a linked list. First, we need to check if the head of the linked list is none. If the head of a linked list is none, then we can't remove the first node because our linked list is empty, so we just immediately return. Now, let's say instead of having an empty linked list, we have the linked list depicted on the bottom with nodes A, B, C, and D. A is the head of our list. To remove the head node, all we have to do now is set the head of our linked list to the head's next node. In other words, we're setting the head of our linked list to B. And we're done! We've successfully removed the head of our linked list. Now, let's go over how to delete an element in the middle of a linked list. We're going to add a deleteMiddle method to our linked list class. The deleteMiddle method takes in an input variable prevNode, which is the node right before the one we want to delete. For example, if we're given this linked list with nodes A, B, C, and D, and we want to delete node C, our previous node is B. To remove a middle node, we first check if the previous node is a valid node. If our previous node doesn't exist, meaning our previous node is none, then we raise a value error to indicate that our input was invalid and immediately return. If our previous node is valid, we then define a toDelete variable, which we set to the previous node's next element. In this case, our previous node B's next element is C, so C is our toDelete node. Finally, we set the previous node's next element to the toDelete node's next element. In this case, we set B's next pointer to C's next node, D. And now we've successfully removed node C from the middle of our linked list. Let's move on and go over how to delete an element from the end of our linked list. Building off our linked list class, we add a pop method that pops a node off the end of our linked list. The first thing we do in our pop method is check if our linked list is already empty, meaning the head node is none. If our linked list is already empty, we immediately return, since we can't pop an element off of an already empty list. Next, we check if we have a linked list with only one element. In other words, we check if the head's next pointer points to none. If it does, then we remove the only element in our linked list by setting the head of our linked list to none. Now let's say that our linked list doesn't fall under any of our edge cases, and our linked list has nodes A, B, C, and D. Then, we define a variable called second to last and set it to the head of our linked list. And we keep on iterating through our linked list until the variable second to last is the second to last node in our linked list. We will know if we are on the second to last element in our linked list when the next element is none. In this case, our second to last node is C. Once we've found our second to last element, we set our second to last's next pointer to none. In this case, we set C's next pointer to none. And then we've successfully removed the last element, D, from our linked list. Alright, that's it for today's video. Here's a summary of everything we've covered. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and thanks for listening!